Good morning, traders. It is December 8th, 2021, 8:17 a.m., and this is my pre-market outlook on the SPY. Yes, the rally has rallied, but can the bid remain? I am still keeping my eyes on market leaders, Apple, nvda, Tesla, XLF, Amazon, and Google. If they hold and rally, so does the market. But if this rally fails, you'll see signs here first. Definitely keeping my eye on Apple because there's a great place setting up to possibly short Apple here, possibly happening today around that 471, 472 area. I'm sorry, 170 area, 172 on Apple. Yesterday I jumped the gun a bit on my intraday trade. There's something that I was waiting for to set up, but in the heat of the moment, intraday, I didn't completely wait for the setup to completely take place. There are 7 metrics that I track, and usually when those 7 metrics on a particular time frame go all bullish, that's usually a clear sign that things are overdone and it's time for a pullback. Yesterday we were 6 out of 7, and I was waiting for the one item to turn midday, but it never quite got there. This morning we start off and we have 7 out of 7 bullish on the intermediate time frame. So that definitely does say that a pullback is coming. And on the intermediate time frame, it's usually the day of, but could be as much as a day away. But a pullback is coming. But it's just on the intermediate time frame. And what I'm looking for is that intermediate time frame could kick over to something bigger. Not saying that it will, but you take your victories where you can, be it small or big. And I find my time, I take small chunks wherever I can. With that being said, with the intermediate chart where it is and the metrics where they are, I expect a push higher than reverse to go back and test somewhere back between the queen and upper king support levels. So that brings me to the question of the day. Since I do see a pullback coming, will it happen around the 470 area or after testing and edging out the all-time high? And that's going to be around 473 and some change. So that's the question. That's what I'm watching. That's what I'm waiting for. There's kind of like a wall that has been building since November 5th between 470, the 470 area and 468. So it's a lot to clear. I'm not saying that it can't be cleared, but it's a lot. So this is one of the reasons why I started getting short using the put verticals yesterday. Key levels to watch. Let me get those up. All right, here we go with the key levels, starting with resistance. The jack resistance is 470, the queen resistance is 471, and the king resistance is 473 area. a key battleground that I'm going to emphasize is going to take place between this 470, where did I have it here? Okay, 470.98. A close above 470.98 gets us up here. It pushes us up here. So that 471 area is pretty much the battleground today. It's going to be a lot to push through. Support. The Jack support is 468. Queen support is 467. And the King support area is 464 through 462. Same here on the bottom side. The battleground to go lower is going to be here at the 468 area. So if we pierce the 468, 467 area, that's the key to go lower. Let's get into the scenarios for today. All right, we have the first scenario, which is a possible range day. And again, I apologize. My probabilities are off. Still trying to debug my worksheet so that I can calculate everything. And it's taking time for me trying to do things by hand. But there are a lot of different scenarios or variations of a range day. We could very well see us pop up, test the 470, and we could be in for a lot of chop here today, possibly. But kind of chop and then maybe push up at that 470 area and take a lot of times of hitting against that and rejecting before finally busting through. And the same could be said for the downside as far as looking at a possible range day to the downside. So that's going to be a scenario that I'm looking for today, because we could get a lot of rejections off of this 470 area. Looking back, it was a lot of rejections in the past, going back to November 5th. So it could take a minute. So that's the first scenario. Scenario number 2 is the change day or rounded reversal day. It's pretty much where we head higher, see very little chop on the way up, and find resistance somewhere between the Queen and King resistance level. And that's pretty much somewhere between 471 and 473. We found some resistance, sideways chopping there, and coming into the second half of the day, after getting that sideways chop, you see the divergence in the chop where volume indicators are already kind of trending down, even though price action is chopping sideways. And we get just as a strong trend in the opposite direction as we got the morning. So with the morning trend being up, the second half of the day will have just as a strong trend down, closing out the day. That is scenario number 2. Here we have the third scenario, which is a trend day up structure, which Coming into the open, we find ourselves fading back and finding support somewhere around or before yesterday's close of 468.28. And because there's a decent amount of order flow, and also remember what I said, that 468 area is going to be a battleground. I see us kind of chopping sideways in here a little longer than usual on a trend up day. And when we finally do get going, we get a nice burst up towards the Jack and Queen resistance, and somewhere in here around the Queen, possibly King resistance, we find our midday chop and pretty much stay range bound the middle of the day, and then coming out into the second half of the day, we kind of fade back just a bit. And this scenario pretty much tells me that the bid is here, and it's staying. But there are a lot of games that market makers like to play, and I kind of touched on it a bit yesterday as far as trapping people in order for somebody to win money, somebody has to lose money. So this could be a setup, and usually in order to bypass a lot, in order to get past the algorithms, the buying programs that some of the market makers have on, in order to get through that, a lot of times that action will have to take place overnight. And in order for us to really break down, we're going to have a day that's pretty much the opposite of yesterday, where we come in, gap down at least 20 to 30 points on the S&P 500. On the Dow, you'll see us gap down close to 200 points or better in order for us to kind of jump over the algorithms, because as long as they see momentum to the upside, they're going to kick on the buy programs. That's pretty much it for today. As always, know your risk, and my thinking into any position, thinking risk first, is if it doesn't go my way, is it worth the risk? Wishing you a successful day. Have a great day.